when we talk about music, we have to talk about phrasing. And when you talk about phrasing, you have to talk about peak points, Höhepunkte in German. It means that when you have a phrase, even in English, you talk in a certain way and your voice has a certain tone. For instance, you go like, today is a sunny day, so I'll go for a walk. Your tone just goes up, strengthen a little bit, and then it goes down. It means that you have a starting point, a rest point, then you just gain intensity, you gain tension, you gain strength, and then you just release it and you go back to the rest point. It's like, you know, a kind of a journey where you go very far away, but at a certain point you feel the need to go back home. This is how, generally speaking, tonal music works. I have to say, I'm talking about tonal music. I am a tonal music lover. I believe in the principles of tonal music. I have nothing against atonal music, polytonal music and things like that. But I believe in these principles that rule a certain way of making music. And so when we talk about that situation, we have to think about several phrases in my piece, and every phrase has its own peak point. But there's more than that, because if you take a look at a whole piece, there's a general and one unique peak point of the whole piece. And it means that, exactly, I was talking about the journey, that you start from a certain point, your journey begins, and of course the several phrases just go ahead in different ways. They can be very strong or even very soft. They can go up and then back down immediately, or just go a little bit up and then down and then gain in strength again. It's not a linear journey because it would be boring. So you go ahead and you just go at the maximum distance from the starting point. I could say that you start from C major and you reach an F sharp major. So you are so far away from your beginning. And that is the limit, I would say, where the composer gave everything he got in terms of new things that I can add that people never heard before in the piece. From now on, I will just keep going. Music keeps going, never stops. And maybe the ending could be sparkly and amazing. But what the composer do is just going home. He's just reaching again that rest point, which is actually very natural. It works like everything in life. You breathe in from a rest point. When you're out of breath, you just breathe in. Muscular tension, you reach the limit and then you breathe out. Your muscles work like that. No tension, maximum tension, and so on. When you play the violin, minimum tension, you gain tension, up bow, and now maximum tension and you lose tension going down bow. So everything basically works like that. Even day and night, they are phases that must be there, okay? So when you think about music, you have to understand that when you analyze the piece and you find that peak point, you can understand when the composer said, okay, now I have to go back home, which is actually very important to find out the real good way to play that piece, to play that music, and not only just going ahead, I'm going ahead. I don't know where I'm going. At a certain point it will stop. I'll have a final chord and that's the end. Yes, but you can sense the need of finding an end way before the last 8 or 16 bars, way before. You can feel that we are, slowly or quickly going home, which is very, very important in terms of analyzing music. Two big conductors believed in these principles. The names are very famous, Sergio Celibidache and Leonard Bernstein. They loved tonal music too, by the way, and Sergio Celibidache especially made a decision in his conducting career, which could sound a little bit weird in a way, but it's smart. It's based on smart thoughts. He decided that when he was performing a forma sonata, he would never ever play a repeat. Never. Not even when you have bar 1 and bar 2. No. And why that? Not simply because he wanted to be different from anyone else, but because he believed so much in this idea of the journey. And if you start for a journey and you just go away from home, you cannot at a certain point go back home and do exactly the same journey and then you decide to keep going. Because it's very boring and it's nonsense. It's like going to see a movie and you watch the first part of the movie and at the break you just go back and see again the first part of the movie. Of course you get bored and you're looking forward to see the second part. So, of course, we could have a discussion about that lasting 2 years and never finding the solution, because one can say that this is a good choice, one can say that this is a wrong choice. I don't want to create a querelle about that, but I just want to point out that this is something to think of, because the idea of music like going, finding a point and then going back is actually very smart and very true. And so it deserves a reflection, I would say. And in the end, I would like to say one more thing about phrasing. I can see nowadays that a lot of conductors that are considered good conductors lay stress during rehearsal, especially on the fact of you just need to be together, you need to play perfectly together, everything must be there in the right place, not out of place, not out of order, and so on. And phrasing comes later. Sometimes comes later, sometimes doesn't come at all. I want to say that it's important, of course, to take care of, precision and being together, but when you hear to old recordings like, I can say, Furtwänglers or Bruno Walters or Klemperers or Giulinis and so on, you have this sensation, even if the recordings are not so good, in terms of quality of the sound and so on, you can actually feel this amazing unity of consciences of the players. And sometimes you can hear a chord which is not exactly that blade cutting through, but anyway, even someone is getting in a little bit late or too soon, but you feel that strength of we think in the same way the music. As a conductor, I feel like suggesting to anyone listening and watching this video, just always take care, first of all, of what phrasing is all about. And of course, then it must come the rest. You have to be precise, you have to be, in time and so on. But if you take care about phrasing, you make music come alive again. From the black notes in the paper, you make it alive. If you worry about, we have to come in time, we have to come together, and then some people think of a certain phrasing, other people think of another phrasing, they peak at bar number 4, they peak at bar number 5, and so on. You have not that unity, and you are not actually making music. You are making sounds out of that score. So as a conductor, I think, first of all, take care of music and phrasing, and of course, after that, you take care of all the rest.